Hello, everybody. Craig Peterson here, WGAN, of course, online at craigpeterson.com, and heard streaming all over the world, of course, on your favorite streaming sites. I'm so glad to be here today and be able to talk with you a little bit about what are the top news stories this week. How can you keep safe? That's really kind of one of my themes, because I totally freaked out when my company was hacked some years ago. You know, just a regular business guy trying to run a small business, and man, did it hurt me bad back in the day. And so I'm just trying to get all of the information that's taken me years to put together and learn, and I continue to study this stuff and continue to look at what are the best ways to defend ourselves. I try and get all of that and put it together in nice, neat packages for you. One of them, of course, is the radio show. I also get on with Facebook Lives and YouTube Lives and Lives, I should say, not Lives. And I also do various types of trainings and tutorials and things out there. In fact, for the next course I have coming up, we're going to have implementation calls where we are talking specifically about what to do when you do it. So you try and implement something, you have some issues. I'm going to get on the phone with you guys. So I think that's going to be great in an upcoming class here in a few weeks. And then, of course, the tutorials leading up to the class where I'll take your questions live. Sometimes those little tutorial sessions on, it's basically webinar technology, but on these webinars, sometimes we go a couple hours to even as long as 3 hours, because I try and answer all of your questions. That's what it's about here, all right? Because I understand most people, I know I'm this way too. I get contacted by somebody and they're trying to sell me something. It happened just over the weekend last weekend. Somebody knocked at the door trying to sell windows, right? I think it was like Renewal by Anderson or something like that. And they were walking around knocking on doors, obviously. And I, immediately just knee-jerk said no. No, thanks. My windows are fine. And it got me to thinking about the whole situation in the security realm. Because that's what we do, right? We're doing what we've been doing for years, decades sometimes. We have the antivirus software. Every once in a while, when we hear about a real big vulnerability, we go ahead and apply patches. And, it's been the same old. But we just can't do that anymore because really we are seeing huge problems and businesses going out of business because of them. So that's what this is all about. So if you're a new listener, welcome. If you've been listening for a while, of course, welcome to you too. And I really want to get this information out. So one of the best ways to make sure you have all of the latest information you need is to go online, go to craigpeterson.com/subscribe, and that'll get you on my email list. And then once you're there, you'll be able to keep up to date on things. I do try and get those out. I have a newsletter that's every Saturday morning. And then when I'm doing a training, I'll send something that's a little out of band if I'm doing a live or various other things. And I was thinking, because the way it works with the emails I send out, if you unsubscribe, you will be guaranteed to never hear from me again. And frankly, maybe that's a great thing, right, for some people. But for other people, I came to realize that maybe they didn't care about the trainings. They just wanted the newsletter, or maybe they didn't want the trainings but didn't want any of the courses, or didn't want this course, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to try and do something a little bit different. Right now, there's a pretty nasty warning as a footnote. Hey, if you unsubscribe, you're done. Because I can't send you anything anymore. I won't send you, even if you paid for a course, you're not going to hear from me again because you unsubscribed. And you are now marked as somebody that doesn't ever want to hear from me again. And that's fine. I know we all have our lives, and maybe you think you're safe enough, and maybe you're going to reach out to me when everything falls down around you, at which point I can't respond to you because I will have your email blocked because I don't want to bother you. I really want to comply with the Canned Spam Act, although most people don't seem to care about that, as well as the GDPR, the new California regulations, the Massachusetts regulations, the new federal regulations that are going into effect. where I'm not supposed to contact you. If you say no, no means no, right? So anyhow, I'm going to change a little bit. So with these upcoming trainings and courses that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to make it so you can just unsubscribe from that. So you're not going to lose contact with me, because I've had some people complain, and it becomes a bit of a pain if I have to try and add them back in. So we're going to try and make this a little bit easier for you guys. So keep an eye out for that. And you already know, obviously, right, based on what I'm saying, as well as what I've done in the past, that I don't spam you guys. I don't sell your name to other people, your email address. And most of you I know are kind of the older generations. The younger guys, they don't care. We've already talked about that. They will sell their email address and name for a donut. They'll trade them for a donut. Us older folk, we're a little bit more cautious about it, and I think that's probably a good thing. We're actually less likely to get ripped off. The senior population, in some ways, less likely to get ripped off. In other ways, more likely to get ripped off. It's interesting. Again, we tend to trust phone calls more. You know what? Frankly, I don't answer my phone anymore. It just goes to voicemail, and I have somebody else look at it because there's so many scams coming in. But we tend to trust the phones more. And the generation, the men and women older than me, other baby boomers, they are a little bit more susceptible to those types of scams. So be careful with those types of scams as well. Just, be careful all the way around, frankly. And that brings us to our first story of the day today. And this is something I found that I thought was really cool. So I thought I'd share it with you. Yeah, it's a tech thing. I was just a few weeks ago talking on the radio, on one of the radio shows I appear on as a guest. And we were talking about Betamax versus VHS, and I knew that the radio host I was talking to, there's no way he just loves tech. There's no way he did not have Betamax, and he did. He had hundreds apparently of beta tapes in his closet. But this is all about that era, the 1990s. I'm sure you guys had VCRs, right, back in the day. And of course, the winner of that war was VHS, and it wasn't because it was a better technology, but we're not going to delve into that right now. And those VHS tapes, at this point, about 20,000 of them have been put into an online vault. Now, if you've never used the Wayback Machine, you totally have to check it out. You can find it online at archive.org. That's the name of it. It is an internet archive. It shows web pages going way back. You can look at my web page from back in the very, very, very early days of the internet. When, not the internet, but of when the whole web thing came about, which was 92, 93 is when it started to go. I didn't have a web page back in 85 when I first registered my domain. It's been around for a while. And then, of course, I was using other domains before that. I was using my ham radio call sign as my domain before that. But the Wayback Machine is this archive. You can browse the history of any major site, many minor sites that are out there. And it's been used in court cases. It's used by me just for kind of memories of things as the way they were. And you can now use it for something brand new I didn't know that they had. And that is, they've got something out there on the Wayback Machine that's called the VHS Vault. VHS, just like the VHS tapes that we had or that Ken didn't have because he had Betamax. And right now I'm looking, it says there's almost 21,000 results. So they've taken these VHS tapes that have been submitted and they have effectively ripped them. They've turned them into digital video, right? And some of these are just amazing, like Warm Up to Tracy Lords. It's an exercise program. Of course, Tracy Lords was involved in some adult films back in the day. I love this. Mystery Science Theater 3000. Timothy Leary is a guest on MTV with John Lennon, Les Miserables from 1935, Rusted Judgment. There are so many cool things. The Lion King in full VHS tapes. Now, some of this information is probably still copyrighted, but as a general rule, archive.org doesn't get nailed for copyright violations. SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh, this is the fairy godmother, I think is what this cartoon was called. I'm trying to remember. My kids used to like it. Some bootleg tapes, everything. But you can find it online. I think you would have a gas. So I want you to go to archive.org as you're listening to the show, or maybe some other time during the week. You're sitting there watching some TV with your smartphone or your computer. Archive.org. And look for the VHS Vault. The actual URL is archive.org/details/VHS Vault. You will see all kinds of fun stuff that's in there. They have a couple of different collections. You can search this. You can go in by year when they did it. They have the Flemish Dog Collection. There's another one. There are collections, too, that I've used in some of the training videos I put together that are collections of old black ink art and pencil art and engineering diagrams that are well out of copyright. And you'll find all that stuff at archive.org. Check it out. I think you will have a gas if you're like me. It certainly brought back a lot of memories. When we get back, we're going to be talking about something that you should be doing, whether you're a home user or a business user. And, the things that we have to be worried about are the things that can be stolen from us, right, in the online world. Okay, this is what we're talking about. What can be stolen from us, but also what can be used to kind of hold our feet to the fire in ransomware. So we're going to talk about how to reduce your risk with Craig Peterson here on WGAN. Stick around. We'll be right back.